Judge issues a ruling in the controversial Safety Act, what it means for the new law that is set to take effect in just days.
COVID-19 travel rules are changing for people flying from China to the U.S. We're live with when this new rule goes into effect.
Plus, your AccuWeather forecast is filled with clouds and temperatures in the 50s as we welcome you on this Thursday morning, or as we like to call it, Friday Eve.
Live from Chicago's #1 news, ABC7 Eyewitness News at 7 starts streaming now.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tanya Babich.
And I'm Diane. Patty, Terrell, and Val obviously have today off. Streaming later this hour, New Yorkers are saying goodbye to their worst memories of 2022 on the unofficial Good Riddance Day. At around 7:45, we're revealing our list of things we're leaving behind this year as well.
But first, we go outside on this beautiful weather day, 46 degrees right now, just to start the day. Greg.
Yeah, and we're climbing from there. Temperatures already at 50 degrees for some. Valparaiso, Gary on the list there. It looks like Rensselaer's getting at 50 degrees. Those are two new updates. And you saw some sunshine early, but clouds are definitely filtering in. It's going to be a mostly cloudy late morning to early afternoon. Temperatures will be in the mid-50s for us today. And there is a chance here of showers, mainly late tonight, early tomorrow morning. They should be gone before you hit the roads on your Friday morning, but could be a little bit wet out there. Good news, not slick, because temperatures stay above freezing. Jeremy?
Well, Greg, we've been following the story most of the morning. It's in the South Loop where Taylor and Des Plaines completely shut down due to what we do know now, more information from CPD. This crash happened around 3:30 this morning. The driver that you see in the red vehicle was speeding on Des Plaines, struck the semi, and then not clear on what exactly the after effect was, but we are hearing that shots were fired at a bystander in that direction. Two people are transported to an area hospital. That's all the information that we have right now. Of course, we'll follow this up and have more information for you later on today. On to our big map, where we're seeing hardly any delays right now. The only delay I'm watching right now is on the inbound Stevenson ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. Tanya and Diane.
Jeremy, thank you so much. Now to a story that broke overnight. 4 people are hurt in a shooting on Chicago's west side. 3 of the victims were hit by gunfire. A 4th was hit by broken glass. That happened shortly before 10 last night in the parking lot of a gas station in the 5100 block of West Madison. Police are looking for the shooter, who was in a dark-colored SUV. All 4 victims are expected to survive.
We have new reaction to a story that was breaking last night at 10. A Kankakee County judge has ruled in favor of ending cash bail in the controversial Safety Act, calling it unconstitutional.
That ruling applies to those counties that had challenged the new law. Christian Picos is here now to explain what happens. Christian?
Diane and Tanya, 65 counties across the state will be starting the new year without a portion of the Safety Act that would have ended cash bail, and now the Illinois Attorney General's office plans to appeal to the state Supreme Court. State's attorneys in those 65 counties challenged the law, which was supposed to take effect at the start of the new year. As a result of the judge's ruling, pretrial release and bail reforms spelled out in the law will not take effect come January 1st. The portion of the law would have allowed judges to decide if a defendant does not pose a public safety risk, then they could be released without posting cash bail. ABC7 legal analyst Gil Sofer explained why the judge ruled this portion of the Safety Act as unconstitutional.
The challengers to this law brought a lot of different arguments forward to the judge, but it appears the judge ruled in their favor for one reason. And that is that he found that this law violates the separation of powers language in the Illinois Constitution.
In a statement, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker wrote, in part, today's ruling is a setback for the principles we fought to protect through the passage of the Safety Act. We cannot and should not defend a system that fails to keep people safe by allowing those who are a threat to their community the ability to simply buy their way out of jail. And Kankakee County State's Attorney Jim Rowe, one of the leading voices in the lawsuit against cash bail, wrote, the Safety Act amended the state constitution and eroded the constitutional protections of the Victim Rights Act, all while disenfranchising the people of their constitutional right to vote on such reforms. The people of Illinois deserve better than that, and today's verdict condemns the act for exactly what it is, unconstitutional. Other parts of the Safety Act that includes police accountability and training will still take effect on January 1st. Tanya and Diane.
Thank you, Christian. Breaking overnight, Chicago police say a group of men beat a man with a bottle while on the CTA Red Line train platform just before 11 last night at the Monroe Station in the Loop. At last check, the victim was taken to the hospital in fair condition, and police say 3 men were taken into custody.
Right now, Southwest Airlines passengers scrambling to make new plans after more than 2,300 flights are canceled today. You're looking live inside Midway Airport right now. All of that unclaimed baggage we've been looking at all week long, they've been moved to a secured facility. There are some signs of progress. The airline says it has increased their operations by about 20% in the last 2 days and is expected to be at 100% by this weekend. Southwest also says it's planning on reimbursing people whose flights were disrupted between Christmas Eve and this coming Monday. Refund requests can be submitted through the company's website. Now, coming up in our next half hour, we'll discuss what your options are if your flight is or was canceled.
Flying from China to the U.S. will soon require a negative COVID test.
The policy change follows a surge in cases in China. ABC's Justin Finch is live in Washington with this story. Justin.
Good morning. That's right. The U.S. very much concerned right now about COVID cases rising in China. The U.S. now the latest country to enforce new restrictions on those traveling to the U.S. from China. As China struggles to deal with a crushing wave of COVID-19 infections, the CDC is announcing new restrictions on all travelers from China heading to the U.S. Starting January 5th, anyone traveling from China will be required to show proof of a negative PCR or antigen test taken within 2 days of departure.
This is an unfortunate but necessary step, given the fact that we don't really know how much COVID there is in China, and we don't know the full spectrum of what variants there are.
The tighter measures introduced because the U.S. is concerned about China's soaring number of cases and a lack of transparency from the Chinese government. New images out of China showing overcrowded hospitals and patients waiting in the hallway, some unable to be seen. The surge follows the Chinese government's decision to ease its so-called zero COVID policies a few weeks ago after rare protests sparked across the country. Mass testing and citywide lockdowns were suddenly abandoned. The rapid reopening resulted in what is likely millions of new cases. But China's government has only reported a handful of COVID deaths. Health officials say the rapid rise in cases could increase the possibility for new variants.
Given the fact that we don't have clear data about how much COVID is circulating in China and what variants are circulating, I'm not surprised that the CDC has taken these additional steps to keep the United States protected.
And the fear is COVID-19 will keep spreading in China during a very busy holiday period, including Chinese New Year just next month. Tanya, Diane?
Justin Finch reporting live for us in Washington. Thank you. Displaced residents of an apartment complex on Chicago's South Side are vowing to fight for justice. They live at the Algonquin Apartments, which are managed by Mac Properties. Residents have been without electricity and out of their homes since Christmas Eve. Tenants United of Hyde Park and Woodlawn organized a meeting last night. Organizer Faye Porter said residents who are speaking out are worried about retaliation. Those that did speak to us didn't even want to show their faces.
How do they expect us to pay rent? We'll try to hurry up and move up out of these hotels to spend our New Year's into our homes.
Mac Properties hasn't commented, but residents say they were told in an email they would be back in their homes by December 30th.
The congregation of a Maywood church is still searching for a new place to gather after their church was destroyed in a fire earlier this week. Last night, members of the New Life in Christ Bible Church prayed outside of the burnt building remains. They say they are working toward rebuilding. The group plans to pray outside the church again tomorrow.
This morning, Roman Catholics here and around the world are praying for Pope Emeritus Benedict.
ABC's Marcus Moore is at the Vatican with the latest on his condition.
Pope Francis calling for prayers for his predecessor, Benedict XVI.
Una preghiera speciale per Papa Emerito Benedetto.
Saying the Pope Emeritus is, quote, very sick. Benedict shocked the church and the world when he announced his retirement in 2013, the first pontiff to step down in nearly 600 years, citing, quote, a lack of strength of mind and body due to his age.
Grazie, buonanotte.
The 95-year-old has kept a low profile, residing at the Vatican, giving up his famous red shoes for a quiet life, vowing to live, quote, hidden to the world. Recently, he has appeared frail and in declining health. Seen this summer with Francis, who has said having Benedict at the Vatican was like having a wise grandfather at home to turn to for advice. In 2005, at 78, he was the 5th oldest pope elected in the church's history. Born Joseph Ratzinger, he served as the Cardinal Archbishop of Munich in the late 70s and early 80s. Just this year, Benedict facing a damning report accusing him of mishandling cases of sexual abuse by priests when he was head of the archdiocese. The church sexual abuse scandal plagued his papacy, and while he was the first pope to meet with victims,
Indeed, I am deeply sorry for the pain and suffering the victims have endured.
he also faced intense criticism for not holding church leaders accountable for covering up abuse. But perhaps the most notable part of his papacy was its abrupt end, a decision that could change the church forever.
I thought it was a great act of humility to give up one of the most powerful job in the Catholic Church. Benedict has set the standard now.
There has been no official update on Pope Benedict's condition other than it worsening from his, quote, advancing age. We know that the retired Pope is at his home where he's been receiving care, and that Pope Francis went to visit him as he put out that call for continued prayers. Marcus Moore, ABC News, the Vatican.
Marcus, thank you. Today marks 1 year since Bradley Police Sergeant Marlene Ritmanick was killed in the line of duty. Tonight, Ritmanick's family and community members will hold a candlelight vigil at the hotel where she was shot to honor her passing. Ritmanick and her partner, Officer Tyler Bailey, responded to a call about a barking dog at a hotel last December. Bailey is still recovering from his injuries.
Now to an Eyewitness News exclusive. A professional dancer is getting back on his feet after suffering a life-changing spinal cord injury nearly 3 months ago. Mauricio Fernandez couldn't feel his limbs after he fell down a set of stairs and crushed part of his spine. He is dancing again, though, thanks to surgery and rehab at Northwestern Medicine and the help of a unique zero-gravity physical therapy suit that relieves pressure on his legs.
If it's possible that I get to dance, to walk, I'm just gonna do everything in my power to do it. So that's the route that I took, and I was just gotta keep working every day and try my best.
Fernandez is back to teaching dance now, this time with an assistant as he continues his recovery.
So happy for him and wish him the best. You're live, and local news just getting started as we stream out loud this morning. Coming up, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered shipping containers placed along his state's border. That story ahead.
First, Greg has your AccuWeather forecast. He's talking about temperatures in the 50s for today. Next.
I'll be over. Good morning, everyone. Taking a look at our forecast here, and what a beautiful day we have ahead of us with temperatures that are running in the 50s, despite what you see here, which is a decent amount of cloud cover for us. Our temps there, again, are in the 40s, but we could see some 50s out there despite the clouds. The reason? Winds out of the south. Right now, 18 miles per hour. Temperature at 46, and, well, you can see those clouds already building out off to the west. Again, those move in with time today. It will be breezy. Winds already 25 to even 35 miles per hour, and those gusts gusts are just going to continue today as we get all that warm air pushed in from the south. Thankfully, this cold front that's out off to the west stays off to our west. Temperatures, they're in the mid to upper 40s to lower 50s, as I mentioned. Throughout the day today, we'll hit about upper 50s to lower 60s. And then as we roll into the forecast for the next few days, we are not going to do too bad for ourselves. Those highs, again, continue to warm well above normal, even through the new year. Jeremy, how's traffic looking?
Well, Greg, for the most part, looking pretty good, but I do want to highlight a new crash on the southbound Tri-State. This is right around Everett. The left lane is closed, and thankfully, traffic's light enough to where it's not causing too much of an issue. Let's go to the maps real quick. Any delays that we had in the 6 o'clock hour, those have all cleared, so we're not seeing anything slowing you down just yet. We're still watching this problem, though, in the South Loop, where Taylor and Des Plaines closed with crash investigation and cleanup. This happened around 3:30 with the driver speeding on Des Plaines, struck a semi. Shots were fired after the crash, and the 2 people were transported to the hospital. This is an ongoing investigation, so if you have to get to the inbound Dan Ryan, use Roosevelt instead. Better news, though, in Grays Lake, where Fairfield is back open at Route 120, and any other crashes really not posing too much of a problem so far this morning, Tanya and Diane.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Representative Jamie Raskin is battling cancer. The lawmaker from Maryland says he's been diagnosed with a type of lymphoma, which is serious but curable. Representative Raskin recently became the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee and was part of the House committee investigating the attack on the Capitol. He says he will be able to continue to work.
And now to the fallout over the crisis at the southern border after the Supreme Court let Title 42 stay in place for now. Migrant families remain in limbo this morning but are still clinging to hope, and border facilities are overwhelmed. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, thousands of migrants are waiting just over the border to enter America. While in the U.S., people in El Paso, Texas are protesting the extension of Title 42, the pandemic-era policy that allows the U.S. to expel migrants back across the border without an asylum hearing. Luis Campos says many people sold their houses to take on this journey. How will you go back if you don't have a place to return to your country? The Supreme Court majority on Tuesday sided with a group of mostly Republican-led states and ordered Title 42 to remain in place pending a hearing before the justices. However, in the ruling, the court suggested that the president has the legal authority to lift the policy, but the White House insists they are deferring to the court. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, the only conservative to agree with the liberals on the court, wrote, "Court should not be in the business of perpetuating administrative edicts. We are a court of law, not policymakers of last resort." In the meantime, border states are overrun with migrants and are struggling with the lack of resources. It's estimated that 18,000 people could cross the border every day if the policy is lifted. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeting he's ordered shipping containers placed along the border to deter more illegal crossings, which has become a near humanitarian crisis in his state.
I just think they can't handle the numbers and they don't have the funding from Congress. So here we are again waiting on Congress to act.
The Biden administration says it will continue to enforce Title 42 into the new year, even as people continue to attempt to cross. The Supreme Court has scheduled oral arguments on Title 42 for February. In the meantime, the White House is calling on Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform, something not done in 36 years. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Coming up, a waitress in Wisconsin is brought to tears. Wait until you hear how much one customer left as a tip. We'll be right back.
Eyewitness News, streaming at 7, continues after a break.
Kwanzaa continues today with people celebrating the fourth principle, cooperation. Yesterday, children took center stage during a Kwanzaa event. Families were invited to celebrate the third day of Kwanzaa at the DuSable Museum. Kwanzaa continues through January 1st. For the fourth year in a row, Metro will offer free travel on trains into and out of downtown on New Year's Eve. Free fares will apply to all trains arriving or departing downtown at stations after 6 p.m. December 31st. Metro's Saturday schedule will be in effect, but the last trains out of downtown will be held until at least 1:15 a.m. No alcohol will be allowed on trains after 7 p.m. Once again, this New Year's Eve, you can ride for free on the CTA too, and this runs from 10 p.m. Saturday until 4 a.m. Sunday. A reminder, do not tap your fare card. Just go through the turnstiles. The CTA says it won't be giving refunds to people who pay accidentally.
A reminder, you can ring in 2023 with us here on ABC7. The party gets started at 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve. There's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, followed by a special edition of Eyewitness News at 9. We'll watch the ball drop in New York. Then it's time for Countdown Chicago. It's all Saturday on New Year's Eve right here on ABC7. Cannot wait to see Cheryl and Terrell dancing.
Not just that, but the whole production
Obviously.
under Terrell's supervision as well. So,
but I really just like the dance number. That's
I'm
my
excited
favorite.
for him. I'm excited for us. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Right now, we're going to join our Good Morning America viewers.
I will have a news update for you on TV in just a little bit. You're going to see it here online as well.
And then when we come back, we get to see the moment a waitress receives a $1,000 tip on Christmas Day.
ABC2 off the top, and then maps.
Now, an update from ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Good morning. It's 7:23. I'm Tanya Babich. House Republican leaders will hold a news conference this morning after a judge's decision last night ruling that parts of Illinois' Safety Act are unconstitutional. State's attorneys in 65 counties in Illinois challenged the law, which is supposed to take effect at the start of the new year. As a result of the judge's ruling, pretrial release and bail reforms spelled out in the law will not take effect in those 65 counties come January 1st. The portion of the law would have allowed judges to decide if a defendant does not pose a public safety risk and thus could be released without posting cash bail. The Illinois Attorney General's office plans to appeal to the state's Supreme Court. Let's get a look at traffic now with Jeremy Scott.
Well, Tanya, still some problems on the Tri-State southbound at Everett. Left lane is closed due to a crash. No delays through that stretch. I want to go to the maps real quick where we do have a video of that earlier crash in the South Loop that Taylor and Des Plaines closed with crash investigation and cleanup. Also, if you're traveling through Bensenville, crash at Route 83 in Thorndale. Rest of your roads, though, are moving well. Is the forecast as good as the traffic right now? Greg Dutra has a look after our break.
Now's the time for a healthy start. So let's move. Let's rest and recharge. And put our health first. Let's be well. To do that, let's eat well. Breathe deep. Find joy in the little moments. And do what we love with who we love. Together, let's live well. Advocate Aurora Health.
Good morning, everyone. Taking a look at our forecast for the next few days, and it is pretty ideal. Mid-50s is our high today. Granted, we could have more sunshine, but it's the cloud cover that keeps the lows during the overnights above freezing for the most part, with the exception of just 2 days on here. One hitting freezing late tomorrow night, early tomorrow morning, and then another chance here during the middle of next week. Everything else is above freezing as overnight lows. There will be zero snow on the ground if you still even have a snow pile around. Even those piles will be gone from rainfall both tonight and then heavier rain Monday and into Tuesday. Looking pretty warm for the first week of 2023.
What a great look. And welcome back, everybody. 46 degrees. Looking forward to the warm up coming very soon today. Now to Wisconsin, where a waitress works Christmas Day just like she does every year.
But this year she received an unexpected gift.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Hey,
it is so sweet. Oh my gosh. Here, opened the restaurant, and Michael Johnson, who is the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, walked in. Talked to him about 45 minutes. I did not know who he was. This was his first time here, and he tipped me $1,000 before he left.
Aww. So she said it. The customer was Michael Johnson, president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County, Wisconsin. Johnson said his Christmas Day schedule was booked with families he planned to help starting at 7:30 a.m. And so he searched the internet for restaurants open at 6 a.m. and learned about Gus's Diner. He had also gotten an email about Blue and wanted to measure her customer service skills and demeanor. Well, he was impressed enough to pull $1,000 tip for her.
Wow.
How wonderful.
Tremendously kind, honestly, tremendously kind. And that's really what the spirit of giving is all about. Good example of that.
Coming up this morning, possible shortages while grocery shopping in 2023.
Great.
Oh, Diane's gonna have a lot to say about this one.
My gosh.
Find out which foods may be hard to come by next year.
And making New Year resolutions, we have some advice to help you stick to your plan, or at least try to. We'll be right back.
Did you get my email?
You're watching ABC7 Eyewitness News at 7, streaming live now.
Let's take a quick look at some of the stories we'll be watching for you today.
There will be a candlelight vigil to mark 1 year since Bradley Police Sergeant Marlene Ritmanick was killed in the line of duty. She and her police partner, Tyler Bailey, was shot responding to a call. Officer Bailey is still recovering. Tonight's vigil will be held at the hotel where that shooting happened.
Embattled Southwest Airlines has canceled another 2,300 flights already today nationwide. The lost luggage seen piled up at Midway Airport has been moved to a secure location. Southwest says it'll reimburse passengers for canceled flights between Christmas and New Year's.
This is day 4 of Kwanzaa, and the focus today is on cooperation. Africa International House USA hosting a community Kwanzaa celebration at Harris Park in the 6200 block of South Drexel in Chicago. The event is from 5 this afternoon until 8 tonight. Today marks 1 year since, so that's going to be something to look forward to there. And we say, welcome back to you. I'm Diane Pathieu.
And I'm Tanya Babich. Let's look outside because the weather is going to be glorious today. We are so excited for 46 degrees already, and it's just going to go up from there, Greg.
It is, and you see some early morning clear sky up there in Woodstock, and some of us have had clear skies to start the morning, although clouds are certainly filtering in. There's a bunch more out off to the west, and it is not bad to start a day off at 50 degrees. It's not even bad to start a day in the upper 30s. Our coolest temperatures on the board are 38, 39 degrees. So through the rest of the morning drive, expect everybody to be mid to upper 40s, if not 50 degrees. Now for the evening drive, our temperatures will slide just a little bit from daytime highs that are anywhere from about 55 to 58 for the most part. Wouldn't rule out a couple of 60s popping up along and south of Interstate 80. Won't rule out a couple of maybe 54s or 55s that temps get stuck at because of the cloud cover. It'll be a breezy day today, but it's that same breeze that keeps us warm even into the overnight hours as a cold front passes through. We'll track another round of rain and in the extended forecast, an inch of rain and not snow. That's all coming up. Over to Jeremy.
Oh, Greg, we're still dealing with this problem in the South Loop where the intersection of Taylor and Des Plaines is shut down. That's all due to a crash where it involved shots fired afterwards. This happened around 3:30 in the morning. Driver was speeding on Des Plaines, struck a semi, and we're hearing the shots were fired in the direction of a bystander. 2 people were transported to an area hospital. No word yet on their condition, but this area is just a mess right now. Use Roosevelt if you're trying to get to the inbound Dan Ryan. Other than that, for the most part, our expressways and our tollways are moving well. We're just seeing a delay on the inbound Stevenson ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. Heading to O'Hare, we've been seeing off and on delays on 190 outbound. And if you are traveling in Northwest Indiana, right now it's actually looking pretty good, but in not letting us know that there could be some moving road work from Chesterton all the way over to the Indiana Toll Road later today. Just a shoulder taken out, but you might see some slowdowns. Tanya and Diane.
All right, Jeremy, thanks so much. And now here's a look from Midway Airport, where the travel nightmare with Southwest continues. The airline today is canceling more than 2,300 flights nationwide. It comes as the Southwest struggles to get back on track following a series of delays and cancellations since last week. Baggage left in the claim area. We've been watching it in this exact spot pretty much every single day this week. Well, it's been moved now to a secured facility, and as you can imagine, it's been an incredibly frustrating few days for those people trying to get back home from the holidays, if they even got to celebrate the holidays. So what can you do if you're one of the thousands who had been stranded ahead of New Year's? Here's some tips to try to help you stay ahead of the game. Thousands of travelers stuck in snaking lines or on hold for hours as the travel meltdown gets worse. Just days left to go before the New Year celebrations.
Whenever I can get out of here, that's what I'll go.
And as desperate scenes unfold at airports nationwide and more cancellations are expected this week, what can you do? Here are 5 tips if your flight is delayed or canceled. Number 1, don't get stuck waiting on Southwest. Take matters into your own hands and book a flight with another airline.
Phone calls were busy. You couldn't get a hold of anybody. It's awful.
Number 2, try an international customer service line. Katie Nastro, spokesperson for Scott's Cheap Flights, says wait times for those lines are drastically shorter than the domestic ones.
Those agents will be able to help you just the same. They'll be able to get you rebooked.
Number 3, remember your rights. You're entitled to get rebooked on a flight for no additional cost, even if it's a few days later. Number 4, check your credit card's travel protection. Some credit cards issue travel protection for canceled or significantly delayed flights.
Get your credit card out, see what they cover, and a hotel reimbursement might be part of that.
Number 5, keep your receipts for any flights you rebooked, rental cars, hotels, and even meals. Southwest promised all customers, even those who made alternate arrangements on their own, would be, quote, taken care of.
Take care of yourself, do what you need to do for your family, keep your receipts, and reach out to us at southwest.com.
An important reminder for everyone, asking nicely and sympathetically is far more likely to get you what you want, even though you're frustrated and even though it's the airline that is at fault. Being rude won't help your case. Oh, but I mean, it's so hard to be
We get it. We totally get it. We're all human. Now, what we're talking about this morning.
Topping the talkers this morning is 2023, and as we enter that new year, it's a chance for a fresh start as many of us consider things we can do better.
ABC's Alexis Christoforous has some tips on how to make and keep your New Year's resolutions for 2023.
This time of year, many Americans commit to a New Year's resolution, but sticking to it isn't easy.
Resolutions are specifically hard to keep because they're often a decision to either do or to not do something.
Licensed psychologist Dr. Melissa Bodine says to think about setting a goal rather than a resolution, and more specifically, a SMART goal.
So a SMART goal, I hear this acronym a lot, is a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound.
So make sure your goal is not vague, like I want to be more active, but specific, such as I want to run a marathon, and make it measurable so you can track your progress.
Instead of I just want to lose weight, it's I want to lose 10 pounds.
Dr. Bodine says to make sure it's attainable considering the amount of time and effort it will take and relevant to the bigger accomplishments you want to achieve in your life.
If your broad goal is to be more creative, maybe writing a book is a good goal for you, but maybe running a marathon isn't.
And set a goal that is time-bound by having a date you want to reach it by. Once you've set your goal, write it down and break it up into smaller steps. If your goal is to run a marathon, step 1 could be signing up.
You are much more likely to do the training and to accomplish the goal if you've already signed up for it, you have a date for it.
Set a smaller goal for each week, rewarding yourself when you reach your weekly goals.
You know, watching your favorite show on Netflix, so you're saving it till the end of the week until you hit your goal.
Dr. Bowden says if you miss a step, get back on the horse and know that you can still make progress toward your goal.
Progress is hard. Give yourself grace. If you had one extra cheat day or whatever it may be, wake up the next morning and start again.
Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Well, we've already agreed, the consensus here, including Greg over in the Weather Center, is that we don't really do New Year's resolutions around here, at least not this trio.
Right.
I'm more a fan of lifestyle changes, and whenever you decide you want to change something, then just go ahead and do it.
Right, you don't have to wait for like the date to change.
And so, I think I asked people online, what are the New Year's resolutions that you want for yourself? And I think a lot of people fall into the pitfall of not being specific enough.
Okay.
So this is a lovely resolution. Be healthier and drama-free.
Okay, I like it.
What does that mean? What kind of drama are you inserting into your own life?
Well,
I'd
that's
like
a
to
story
hear
for
more
another
about
day,
that.
maybe.
Yep. And then
you had some really good ones that popped up.
Leave my comfort zone.
Ooh,
which comfort zone? Does that mean the couch? Does that mean at work?
Yeah.
Does it mean I'd like?
Is it in every category of that person's life? Like maybe they've just been comfortable in their lives?
In which case, the goal might be too broad.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to narrow it down a little bit. Here, we're trying to help you along with this. This one is too personal to say on television.
Okay.
And I don't know this person, but thank you for sharing. To survive with my sanity. We're all aspiring to that.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
we
a fair
agree with
one,
you completely.
for sure.
No resolutions, just a word for the year. And I like this. I like the theme idea, and we'll end on this.
Okay.
Consistency.
Okay.
I like it.
I do too.
Let's all be consistent.
That's right.
Food fears for the new year. A Yahoo article compiled 4 common grocery store items that might be more difficult to find in your
Just
local grocery
4?
store. So
it's way more than 4.
Not just more difficult, but you're thinking more expensive.
No. I'm thinking they do not
Also
have it in the store.
physically there.
Yes.
So bread is number 1. According to Mashed.com, the continuation of Russia's war in Ukraine has a lot of bakeries and factories struggling to obtain the necessary ingredients to make bread. So I imagine flour will probably fall in the same category. Could have potential shortage in 2023. Ukraine and Russian countries account for nearly 20% of global cereal grain production. So your Kellogg's cornflakes, well, maybe not the cornflakes, but another like Wheaties or something, might be tougher to find. Moving on now, we have sunflower and palm oil. 52% of globally traded sunflower seed and oil came from Ukraine. Oil supply chains are disrupted, and there are also reports of a simultaneous palm oil shortage in Indonesia, the leading producer of palm oil. This one's going to make you upset, or some people upset, especially as we get ready to celebrate the new year. Champagne.
I have not seen a shortage of that in our stores, I have to be honest.
Well, do they mean champagne from the Champagne region of France, or do they just mean sparkling wine? Because there are lots of regions you can get sparkling wine from, and very good sparkling wine at that. So apparently climate change has impacted the production of champagne, but climate change also means that more regions can farm the sparkling wine grapes that are used to produce sparkling wine. Beer, canned pet food, also on the list. An aluminum shortage is to blame here. The ongoing supply chain crisis and increased demand will contribute to making it harder to get the ale that you love.
Okay, what was not on that list?
What?
Bananas.
Bananas?
So the last 4 trips to the grocery store, different grocery stores every time, no bananas.
Interesting.
Finally got a hold of bananas yesterday when I did my pickup.
It's about the last affordable thing at the grocery store, by the way.
It's like the most bizarre things are not on the shelves, or if they are, they're kind of not fresh.
Yeah, that's a problem too.
Oh, big time.
ABC Eyewitness News continues streaming out loud after the break. We are back in 90 seconds.
Good morning, everyone, and what a lovely day we have ahead of us. Temperatures in the 40s now. They'll be in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees this afternoon, with scattered rain showers on the way for late tonight, early tomorrow. You'll notice the ground is a little bit wet from scattered rain showers last night. Same type of deal here for later tonight and into early tomorrow. This is a cold front. It's not exactly going to make us super cold, but it'll give us a dose of cooler air, where temperatures will fall down at least close to the freezing mark during the overnight. Pretty good for this time of year, before only warming back up. I say only to about the lower to mid 40s for our Friday. Now Friday, that front kind of stalls to our east, so that could keep some rain showers, perhaps even some mixing in our eastern and southernmost counties, but I don't think the vast majority of us will see any rain on that Friday outlook. Then into Saturday we go, brief area of clear skies, but clouds just arrive again Saturday night and into the New Year's Day. Our temperature will not drop thanks to those clouds, but it's not exactly ideal with mostly cloudy skies there to ring in the new year, and rain showers on the way Monday. We could see a significant amount of rain. Jeremy?
Well, Greg, we've been following the story most of the morning. This it happened on the South Loop around 3:30, where a vehicle was speeding on Des Plaines, and as you see, crashed into that semi. Chopper 7 HD was over this crash earlier this morning. The driver struck the semi at a high rate of speed, and we heard reports of shots fired in a direction of a bystander. We're not sure exactly where this bystander was. 2 people were transported to an area hospital, and we're getting more information. We did hear that the semi driver was not injured in this crash, and of course we're taking a look at our Grant Park camera, which is looking at the intersection of Taylor and Des Plaines. That is still closed, and it's going to be closed for quite some time because there's investigation alongside the crash, if there was a shooting, what exactly happened. So if you're trying to get to the inbound Dan Ryan, you might want to think about using Roosevelt to get to Rubel to get around there. Elsewhere, we're looking really good out there on our expressways and our tollways, and roads in northwest Indiana are nice and light. Surface streets, for the most part, looking pretty good. And here's our Illinois tollway camera looking at the tri-state at the Hinsdale Oasis. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of moving traffic no matter where you need to go. And if you're going to O'Hare Midway, both of those roadways to the airports are looking good, Tanya and Diane.
Thank you, Jeremy. Now to the unofficial Good Riddance Day.
So whether it's a partner, bad habit, maybe it's both, if you've had enough, maybe you should depart from unwanted memories before we ring in the new year. ABC's Will Gans has details on how some are saying good riddance to things in 2022.
Trash the pandemic right there. Go for it. Hit that punching bag. Bash it.
Good Riddance Day 2022. Revelers in Times Square trashing and bashing the things they're ready to leave behind.
Saying goodbye to Russia's attack on Ukraine. Second, my personal college semester gaps, meaning my decision to skip a semester. And third, the drastic increase of celebrity deaths.
And dashing towards the end of the year.
Come on, Vanessa! Make some noise for Vanessa! Yes!
Visitors of all ages taking to Times Square to share what they are saying good riddance to in 2023.
Falling off the beam at gymnastics. Falling off the beam in gymnastics.
From being off balance to canceled flights to more personal promises.
So in 2023, I'm trying to get rid of a lot of doubt that I had in 2022. I just want to enjoy life more, have more experiences, take a dance class without worrying if I'm going to be like Beyonce and be amazing and just have fun at it.
According to the Times Square Alliance, the festivities are inspired by a Latin American tradition in which New Year's revelers stuffed dolls with objects representing bad memories and then set them on fire. But keeping with modern times, this 16th annual Good Riddance Day in Times Square found life online, too. Goodbye to that bad relationship that I allowed to hold me back. Goodbye to having guilt. Goodbye to the 2022 me. Leaving the stress behind.
What are you saying good riddance to in 2022?
I would say stress. It's just, there's no time for it.
Turns out a lot of us hope to be stress-free in 2023.
There are so many documented psychological benefits of writing and releasing your heavier feelings, and this exercise can help you prioritize your problems, fears, and concerns, so why not celebrate your own belated Good Riddance Day? Will Gans, ABC News, New York.
All right.
I do think it's kind of refreshing to have that experience, to write it down and then
Sure.
either light it on fire or throw it away
it's
or
advised.
whatever.
Widespread.
Yeah.
So
do you have
what
anything?
what are you guys going to leave behind, Greg?
Leaving behind? I don't.
Yeah, like what do you want to say
saying
good riddance to?
Good riddance to like my terrible sleep hygiene. I just need to like clean that whole mess up.
But is that possible?
I think it is.
Would you be better?
I think it takes a solid amount of dedication for the morning shift.
It does.
To actually
And
be like
support.
strict about it, not rely on wine to go to
Right.
bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's true. So I think that needs to get mopped.
Yeah, it's taken me a long time, but I'm like a Tracy Butler. Like,
Are you a 6 o'clock sleeper?
I'm a 6 o'clock sleeper. Yeah, and it is like 6:30 is the latest. 7:30 if I'm out partying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's taken me a long time.
It's that discipline that is tough.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to wait until like 2030 to get there.
Yeah, the kids have to be a little older.
Yeah.
More news coming your way after this short break.
Money doesn't buy you happiness.
Oh, Toby, of course it does. What, are you crazy?
Will Fleischman be saved from his or her trouble? The season finale of Fleischman is in trouble. Debuts today. Jesse Eisenberg and Claire Danes play a divorcing couple who have their own view of what exactly went wrong. Most of the series' main characters has been getting the blame, but last week the perspective shifted. Dane says that genius of the show and the book it was based on.
And then you suddenly feel complicit, right? Like, oh, why did I not challenge this earlier? Why, I am part of the system, the patriarchy, you know what I mean? So no, it's really effective and it's very unnerving.
Gosh, she looks really good.
Yeah.
The final episode of Fleischman is in Trouble is out today on Hulu.
Cool.
The Avatar sequel, The Way of Water, is now one of 3 movies to earn $1 billion this year. It was the fastest film to get there. It took just 14 days. The other 2, Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion.
The only reason I've been paying attention to what Avatar has been grossing is because I had heard beforehand that it needed $1 billion just to break even.
Yeah, you told me that.
I've had anxiety on behalf of the producers.
Right? Like,
yeah.
God, I hope they get it.
They got it.
Yay.
It's all gravy from here on out. Still to come this hour, a California elementary school winter concert has gone viral thanks to this 8-year-old. Love this kid more and his impressive dance moves in 90 seconds.
Eyewitness News streaming at 7 continues after a break.
We'll do B-roll off the top and then just one nap. B-roll and a map.
An 8-year-old boy's dance moves are going viral. Jaden Williams upstaged his classmates during his elementary school's winter concert. The boy's moves have been seen by more than 20 million people. Jaden seems to obviously be a natural as far as dancing and performing is concerned, but he says when he grows up, he actually wants to be a football player. And I said this earlier, take those moves
to the sidelines.
Yep, go into the NFL. Ooh. And when they have those, touchdown dances.
Even better, yes, in the end zone.
There
You're
you
exactly
go.
Right. Love it. Nicely done, Jaden.
Such a sweetheart.
Thanks for watching Eyewitness News at 7 a.m. I'm going to have news updates for you coming up. Greg Dutra and Jeremy Scott will talk weather and traffic during Good Morning America.
We'll hear from them in just a moment. From everyone here at ABC7, we hope you have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.
This has been Eyewitness News streaming at 7. Now, an update from ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Good morning. It's 7:56. I'm Tanya Babich. Today marks 1 year since Bradley Police Sergeant Marlene Rittmanick was killed in the line of duty. Rittmanick and her partner, Officer Tyler Bailey, responded to a call about a barking dog at a hotel last December when both were shot. Bailey is still recovering from his injuries. Tonight, Rittmanick's family and community members will hold a candlelight vigil at the hotel where she was shot to honor her memory. Let's get a check of the roads now with Jeremy Scott.
Tanya, we're still dealing with this issue in the South Loop where the intersection of Taylor and Des Plaines is closed from this crash. You see the chopper 7HE was overhead earlier this morning. 2 people were transported to the hospital. We are hearing reports of shots fired that happened after that crash. New problem also in Evanston where westbound Central is blocked at Green Bay due to pavement buckling issue. We'll let you know when that reopens. Also, 80 westbound slow around Briggs through Joliet. Greg Dutra has your forecast after a break.
Hi and good morning, everyone. We're taking a look at our 7-day forecast because it is so much warmer than it normally is this time of year. Mid to upper 40s at least, if not mid to upper 50s like today. Although that does come at a bit of a breeze. Southerly winds up to 35 miles per hour already this morning. They're going to blow like that just about all day long, and cloud cover is increasing. If you have early morning sunshine, that is going to go away. Taking a look for the next couple of days, our temperatures do fall a little bit behind a front. Rain later on Friday. That's mainly going to be south and east. That'll linger into early Saturday morning. But if you're going out for New Year's Eve plans, you are not going to have to bundle up a ton, as the temperature should stay above freezing to start off 2023, and a rain shower, maybe even thunderstorm to start off the year.